everyone. I'm Nancy Carrera, one of the bereavement social workers, and just so happy to be here with you this evening. So we're going to talk about some aspects of self-care and some tips for the holidays. Now, the holidays can be stressful enough without grief, but with grief, the stress of the holidays is turned up a notch. This time it's not only stressful, but it's overwhelming to those of us who are grieving. We feel the pain of the loss and guilt ourselves for dwelling on our emotions. We exhaust ourselves by filling the demands of cooking, cleaning, baking, shopping, decorating, etc., etc. Did you know that when we're grieving, we are more at risk of being lured into excess, whether it's eating, drinking, or shopping? Did you know that you can survive the holidays? The answer? Self-care. But it doesn't just happen. You really have to plan for it, which is what we're going to do later in the workshop, but also now. So that being said, we have several aspects to who we are. We're not just physical beings, but we're emotional, we're spiritual, we're mental, etc. All aspects are interconnected. So when one area is out of whack, the others follow suit. This is all about finding some balance. So what I'm going to do is briefly touch on each aspect here and provide some ideas of things that you can do to nourish that aspect of your being. But first things first, choose to believe that you matter. This exercise is an investment in yourself. Now, the neat thing here is that these suggestions are things that you can begin to practice right away. You can have some immediate coping tools for your toolbox. Now, the emotional aspect of our being focuses on our ability to connect, process, express, and reflect on our emotions in a healthy way. And on the screen are some suggestions for activities that will help us do just that. Firstly, remember to be patient with yourself. Will the holidays be the same? No, they won't, but they can be good again. It just takes time. We're going through a long healing process. Also know that it's okay to enjoy the holidays now, even in the face of your grief. Enjoying ourselves does not mean that we've forgotten our loved one or that we love or miss them any less. We can allow ourselves to find joy in the holidays, if only in the small things for now. But as we do, maybe we'll find ourselves gradually enjoying more parts of the holiday. Secondly, get the right support. We need to choose our audience when we're grieving. This means that we need to surround ourselves with supportive people who will listen to us and validate our feelings, because we have to be able to express our feelings. When attending holiday gatherings, consider formulating a plan for getting support. This can involve having an exit strategy if things get too difficult, or having a private place to which you can excuse yourself if you feel you need some time alone to express your feelings. Maybe coordinate with a supportive friend or family member to be looking for a discreet sign or a look from you if you happen to need some additional support. Also, be direct with friends and family when asking for help. People really want to help, but don't always know how. Well-meaning friends and family may try to tell us what's best for us. As we become aware of our needs, we can share them, and we always reserve the right to change our mind. This physical aspect focuses on activities that will help us to improve our physical health and well-being. Our physical well-being directly impacts other areas and will really set the stage for how well we tolerate stress. Get rest when you can. That's really the first thing. Grief takes a toll on the body. We may find simple tasks exhausting. Physically, we're more susceptible to illness. We must rest when we need it, even if it's often. Try to turn off media at least an hour before bed, or use a blue light filter. The blue light actually interferes with melatonin levels, impacting our ability to fall asleep. Hydrate, drink healthy fluids. When we grieve, we lose fluids through tears and perspiration. We become more susceptible to dehydration, and this makes us feel worse. We need to drink lots of water and other healthy fluids. Aim for 8-ounce glasses each day. Slices of lemon or lime add flavor and may make drinking water more palatable. Try to avoid alcohol, which acts as a dehydrating agent and may get in the way of our healthy grieving. Drink caffeinated beverages in moderation, as the caffeine might make anxiety worse and even cause insomnia. Try gentle exercise, but not as another task to add to the list. Think of it as a way to refocus your thoughts and redirect your energy, if only for a short time. It can also get us out of our homes, helping us to resist the urge to isolate. If you feel up to vigorous exercise, then give it a go. A good rule of thumb, if the activity is healthy and you feel like doing it, then give it a go. Think of things that are healthy and soothing for you. The mental aspect of our being focuses on activities that stimulate or refocus our minds. Again, I really want to reinforce the need to be patient with ourselves. Many of us who are grieving are dealing with grief brain, which can make focusing and concentrating very, very difficult. It's important to remember here also how our physical well-being impacts our mental and emotional well-being, and so on. You may find here that getting rest is the best thing that you can do for your mental well-being. Taking care of our bodies has a direct impact on our minds. Set realistic expectations. The holiday season brings additional stress, so it's very important to be aware of our limitations and not overextend ourselves. Keeping busy now may temporarily distract from grief, but in the long run, it may increase our stress. Consider changing surroundings, rituals, or traditions as a way of reducing your stress. I mean, we don't have to do things the way we've always done them, do we? Resist the urge to be a pleaser. We are allowed to limit our social and family commitments to suit our available energy. We are allowed to reevaluate our priorities and forego unnecessary activities and obligations. It's okay if we change our mind. Remember that no always has to be an option. It's okay if others feel disappointed by our no. You get to be you, and they get to be them. And I would also just like to make a note about the media, and just we are living in a time that's unprecedented and some stressful times. And so I would also just make a note to really pay attention to your just taking in stressful news and maybe controversial media, and maybe limit your exposure. If you feel your stress levels are rising, maybe just taper that off a little bit. Just something to pay attention to there. The social aspect of our being focuses on activities that help to foster and deepen our closest relationships. One thing we can do, talk about our loved one through sharing of memories. And a beautiful way to do this at a holiday gathering is maybe to make a special stocking and have family and friends write a special note about your loved one, and they can put them in the stocking. And then take time during the gathering to share those memories and share stories. We may find that we learn a few things, and we will have an amazing keepsake at the end of the experience. At the end of the day, understand that tears and sadness are a part of grieving at the holidays. So let the tears flow. Decide which traditions you want to keep. It's okay to change things and make new traditions. I mean, we're grieving and it won't be the same as years past. It may be a great time to start a new tradition. Now, totally abandoning the holidays is not the best option, but we don't have to pretend that nothing's happened. We can just maybe change our routine a little bit. Maybe we allow our family and some friends to come and decorate. Perhaps we visit relatives we haven't seen in several years. Or maybe we go to a holiday event that we wouldn't usually attend. We can make a plan and be open to the experience. We can also do something in our loved one's honor. I mean, there's no need to forget our loved one. I mean, as if we could. It's okay to acknowledge the loss. Actually, our friends and family may be looking to us for direction in that regard. When we remember our loved one through an activity that we find meaningful, it gives our grief focus and significance. Also, it may provide an opportunity for others to open up and talk about the loss. Another way is Having a tree decorated for our loved one. A client recently suggested that they were going to get a tree and have it decorated in honor of their loved one, where visitors would bring an ornament that reminds them of the loved one. Again, you'll have an amazing keepsake. Talk about your grief. Realize that some people are listeners and some people are doers, and it's important to know who is who. If you find you're not able to open up and talk to friends or family, we'll talk with a grief counselor. Spiritual self-care focuses on activities that nourish our spirit. And it's important to note here that this may or may not involve religion. The first thing that we can do is slow down. If you find yourself harried and flustered, just stop. Sit down and start with the 3-breath reset. That's in 3 times, breathe in through your nose slowly, hold it, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Do this 3 times. This kind of helps to stop you in your tracks and helps circulate oxygen and helps get us focused on the present moment. We can also practice mindfulness. This is when we stop and focus on what we're sensing and observing in the moment. It kind of gets us out of our head and helps to relax not only our mind, but our body and recenter ourselves. Some activities that nourish the spirit may involve prayer and worship, or maybe for us, it's experiencing nature. Try practicing gratitude. Find one thing for which you are grateful every day and speak that out or write it down. I guess at the end of the day, you get to define what spirituality means to you and try those activities that nourish your spiritual well-being. Self-care upkeep, I would say we can also refer to these activities as those things that we do to maintain our health and our wholeness. And these activities keep us moving in the right direction, keep our minds in a good place, and hopefully prevent or limit future burnout. A big one is setting boundaries, both at home and at work. It's hard to do all at once. Try setting boundaries in one area or in one aspect of your life. And if you have difficulty setting boundaries, you can always reach out to a counselor to explore why. Try keeping up on annual wellness visits to your doctor and schedule appointments when you need to. We can create budgets, or if creating a budget seems too big of an undertaking, try setting a spending limit for the holidays. If you can, try tidying up your workspace or try rearranging some of the furniture in your home. What do you like? What is pleasing to your eyes? How do you function best? These are some of the things to keep in mind. So why do we do this? Why participate in self-care? Well, when we take care of ourselves, we'll find that our lives will change for the better. As Nikki said, you have to fill your own cup before you can pour out into others. It's like putting your oxygen mask on first, because you can't give to others what you don't have in you. And if you don't take care of you, no one will. So remember that the things that we went through, they're just examples of things that you can do to take care of yourself. It's not about doing everything suggested, but it's about finding a few things that sound palatable to you and giving them a try. It's about balance. It's about progress, not perfection. And know that as things change in your life, your self-care needs will change too. So it's just about paying attention to what you need and trying to get those needs met. So creating your own self-care plan doesn't have to be a huge undertaking. Just try this. For each of the aspects listed, choose 1 or 2 activities or strategies that you think you'd like to try. Write them out. It's okay if areas overlap. In fact, mindfulness is a tremendously beneficial activity that could rightly be listed under a strategy for every aspect. Remember, it's not about perfection, but it's about some progress. And even though we're going to create a holiday plan later in the workshop, this one is for you, and it's drilled down to focus on each of the aspects of our being. So some other things that may help with the self-care plan, write it out. The idea is that you see it every day, that you get it out of your head and get it onto paper where you can see it. Make a commitment to yourself. You matter. And it's not just a platitude. You have to remember that you matter. Remind yourself of this every day. Choose things that you think you'd enjoy. Try to do one thing every day, but don't beat yourself up if you don't. There's no self-kicking in self-care. And reassess how you're doing. Maybe choose the beginning and the end of the month. Revise your plan if and whenever you want. You can reassess if you try something and you don't like it, toss it out and try something else. This is about you, and you get to define your needs. So thank you very much for listening. And with that, I will turn this over to my colleague, Sarah, who will discuss children and grief.